Looks like Deathwing's plan has been revealed, and Doron happens to know what it is. So let's see what kind of crazy speculation this man has put together. A little bit of a lore dive into what we're going to be seeing as we venture into
We are going to Zerla Caverns in 10.1. We discovered these Jaradin Elders, and most importantly, the main raid is going to be Aberus, the Shadowed Crucible. This is the Neltharian's secret lab that everyone is trying to access, and it is incredibly interesting with some potentially huge lore reveals. We will discover old god secrets, secrets of the creation of Azeroth, various directed prototypes, Deathwing's own prototype and how he created his armor, Hydras, and even a place for his discarded experiments, amongst other things. However, no one is going here to look at early directed prototypes, but to gather insane power, and this is why the Incarnates are so much after it, and most importantly, Iridicron. So, what is Deathwing really hiding in his secret lab in Aberus? What is really going on, and what can we hope
Maybe a
to
new
discover?
wallet.
Right now, Gamivo has some amazing sales, which you can check out with my link in the description. You can get The Witcher, anything Warcraft related, gift cards, and a bunch of games at really amazing prices. Best of all, if you use my code Doron, you can add an additional discount as well. So make sure to click my link in the description and check out Gamivo and get some really great...
I thought he was going to say Deathwing was hiding a Ridge wallet. Big opportunity missed right there on his part. He could have totally transitioned to a Ridge wallet advertisement.
So there has been an insane amount of news as Blizzard just came out with a bunch of interviews, new info, the really good news cinematic. Since you guys are following the news, I'm guessing you're already aware of most of them. I'm not going to really repeat what you guys can just read with a click of a button. So I want to discuss the most interesting thing, and that is Aberus and the fact that we will actually be
I don't know if anybody saw this, but
secret laboratory of Deathwing, and we even know the name of it and what was out there. Into the actual secret laboratory of Deathwing, and we even know the name. He will.
One more back, right here. I doubt that they took, what's it called? Inspiration from it. But I recently finished Stranger Things. This looks like that creature from Stranger Things. Every time I see it, that's what I think. Is that big shadowy creature. If you've watched Stranger Things, you know what I'm talking about. I don't think this is a living thing here. This is just like lava being sucked into the void. But every time I see it, that's what I think.
That we will actually be going into the actual secret laboratory of Deathwing, and we even know the name of it and what was out there. Well, at least we know some early information.
He is actually sexy though. He's pretty fit.
What are these secrets? What will we learn, and what type of experiments?
To be fair to Doron, he's foreign, right? I think English is his second language, so he probably, if he goes on a date in his country, I don't know exactly where he's from. He probably doesn't speak English.
Are we actually going to find there? At the moment, Blizzard is keeping everything mysterious, but I think this...
I mean, props to him for making videos.
Find what Dragonflight is actually going to be about, and what will the culmination of the expansion be about. Our speculation from half a year ago turned out to be completely and absolutely correct. We will actually be going underground, and the underground zone is going to be called the Zerla Caverns. Personally, I think this is amazing because it really reminds me of Azul Nerub, but it is kind of like those vibes, but like 10 times cooler. Like, not cooler in terms of the lore, but the reason it is cooler is because this is actually going to be a massive zone, like a zone where you can use dragon riding, and it is going to be gigantic.
Did you guys see? We watched the video of the person flying into the new zone. It took him, like, it was a very winding cavern before you even got into the zone. It took him a while to get in there. I was surprised. This zone is massive. Absolutely massive.
According to Blizzard, it is going to be slightly bigger than Zereth Mortis, which
it looks
personally
like it.
I'm super glad they're doing this. It really means that 10.1 is actually going to be a major patch, not just another Cortia add-on, like something you can finish in like a week. Now, what is the most interesting thing is that this will not be instance, so we'll have openings to the caverns from Teldrassus, Azerspan, the Uneran Plains.
You have?
This is going
it looks
to be like
awesome.
a deep hole zone, but not access to the portal, which really is unprecedented in World of Warcraft, at least for a zone of this size with underground dragon riding. But I did get wrong.
The zone is certainly, with its size, given its size, it was certainly made for dragon riding in mind, right? It's not meant to be walked around in. Half of that was on a ground mount. Damn, yeah, it's certainly made for dragon riding. That's why the zone is the size
is that Deathwing's lab was in Forbidden Reach. What we just learned is that while Deathwing had facilities and did all sorts of things in Forbidden Reach, for his truly gruesome and really hidden experiments, he had to dig underground into this ancient Zara-like cavern to create the biggest and the most top secret lab ever, the Shadowed Crucible. And here, even now, Blizzard told us we will discover a lot of experiments and they even hinted at a lot of them. Now, what is super interesting is that this is a mystery, but it's like 5 different sides that are approaching it, and no one but the Incarnates, and I'm guessing not even them, know fully what they're really going to discover. First off, we have the rebellious Draktyr that are going there to reclaim the legacy of Neltharion that they believe is theirs, and it kind of...
Reclaim the legacy of Neltharion. Now, don't forget the Draktyr themselves. All their black dragonflight powers we saw in the lore have been wiped from their minds. That was intentionally taken away from them once the black dragonflight was found to be corrupted. So what a lot of people are speculating, including what I think, is they're going to get their black dragonflight powers back, and they're going to get a new spec. Could be a tanking spec. But I think that Draktyr are going to get a 3rd spec in 10.1.
Is theirs in a way. Then we have the Incarnate that we still don't know what they seek at the moment, but in my opinion, I believe they want to learn what Neltharion did to get empowered, and they want to take on the Void
Could
powers
also be like a melee
so that they can
DPS
get
spec or
strong
something.
enough to face off against the Aspects and the Titan Order. If you noticed, in the cinematic, they said they don't want to
Support style
underestimate us,
spec, yeah,
which
maybe.
really is kind of a first in all World of Warcraft history. And I
Then
think
what
they
about Demon
aren't going
Hunters?
to face off against us alone,
Still
but
screwed.
instead they want to bring on the Black Empire, the Old Gods, but of course, that is just speculation at the moment. Then, we have the Black Dragonflight that is trying to reclaim their legacy to learn about Neltharion.
Oh, it's been data mined,
most
really?
importantly, there are
Oh,
us that are
interesting.
trying to stop the first 2 and also
didn't
learn
know
what
that.
Neltharion was hiding, because as far as we know, no one knows what was going on in Aberrus other than Neltharion and what the secret laboratory was all about. However, even now, we know what some of the experiments were, and we have some
knows. We're about to find
as
out.
we had discovered with various documents from 10.0.7, as we all know, the true thing Neltharion was studying was the Void, the Titan Lies, and he was empowering himself through the Old Gods. However,
Interesting. Support
Aberrus
buffing
wasn't a study room, but in fact, this seems to be like a prison laboratory thing. Most importantly, we learned from Draktyr documents he experimented on them, but Blizzard just told us in the interview that he will discover all sorts of Draktyr prototypes, like the early versions, the discarded versions, and what it took to reach the form that they are today. This
All
is
the
very
fucked up
reminiscent of
versions.
Zereth Mortis, and very likely we will find Draktyr prototypes, which will give us a lot of insight into their creation.
Dragon
Then we
Bar.
learned that apparently Hydras will be found in Aberrus, which, in my opinion, is super interesting. Hydras are some of the most iconic Warcraft 3 mobs, and personally, my speculation why they're in Aberrus is because Deathwing found their multiple heads and abilities to regenerate fascinating and potentially super useful. He more than likely tried to infuse dragons with him, and as we had seen much later down the line, there were multiple headed dragons that were created.
Yeah.
So
Hydras
this
are very
could
WoW
also be a super
for me.
interesting
I remember
finding.
them from
Plus,
Classic, I
as you
mean.
may know from the lore, Hydras have some heavy old god origins, although this is a bit more on the vague side.
Yeah.
However, the coolest discovery that Blizzard hinted at is a prototype Deathwing that Neltharion had created personally. Now, when I say prototype, this is like a prototype robot from like Zereth Mortis, but it seems like Neltharion had literally captured a dragon and then infused him with metal plates to see just how
Yeah.
resilient his armor is.
That's the mount I think that we're gonna get. Is that dragon experiment?
Is that
plated
we had
dragon.
later seen him
It's like
using.
void
So
infused.
the unfortunate dragon probably was on the receiving end of a Q&A testing so that his armor can be perfect. The only issue with this is that Blizzard said that this is an Elementium dragon and he had Elementium plates, but that really was only the case in Cataclysm early on. That we had Adamantium steel plates that the Goblin Smiths forged, so this could definitely be a bit of a
Damn
mistake on Blizzard's
goblins.
part because it is still in the PTR. However,
Damn goblins, man. I swear, they only cause problems.
but at the same time, it might not actually be a mistake. Maybe Deathwing originally wanted Elementium plates, but it was not finished through this experiment, so he got the Adamantium ones, and then 10,000 years later, his original plan came to be. Really, this is a minor detail, but it will be very interesting to discover this dragon, this early version of the Deathwing monstrosity. Now, this was not even mentioned in an interview, but we had discovered that Neltharion had also experimented with Azerite, and we found Azerite on the Dragon Isles, which I think
true.
is just going
Yeah.
to be a huge implication for the lore. I mean, sure, we all know about the old god stuff, but I'm guessing we're going to learn something about the world soul that Deathwing knew, which is actually going to probably be the most interesting and the most crucial information for the expansion to progress. So, other than the main laboratory, Zarala Caverns is a massive zone. There are 3 regions that are notable. Most importantly, there are the sulfur pools that was like the disposal site for failed experiments of Neltharion. So, other than Aberrus, I think these sulfur pools are going to be a great source of new lore as well, as we could learn what worked, what didn't
The
work,
sulfur
and we could discover
pools-
all sorts of
I know
really
there's like a whole sulfur zone. That yellow zone in the center is like supposed to be all
interesting
sulfur and
experiments
stuff.
and really like get into them.
Just imagine what that smells like. Rotting eggs, literally. Just rotting eggs.
Mind of
Not very majestic to fly through that.
Furthermore, unrelated to Deathwing, we could just discover
redux.
the volcanic region of the caverns, and it was confirmed that those Jaradine Elders are going to be there. If you may remember, we learned about these guys a few months back, and there was a lot of speculation about them. Originally, I speculated that these could be elemental lords, which would bring the elementals big time into dragonflight, but
Sulphur,
from the looks
Oklahoma.
of it, it seems like these guys are just going to be very big and powerful Jaradine that are going to play probably not that big of a role, like a not that relevant side role in the expansion.
Right,
Fire Deck the Blazing, the Incarnate, is going to be the main guy of this patch, which almost certainly means that he is
but he's not the final boss. I thought he'd be the final boss of the raid.
probably just going to be a disposable villain, and I'm almost sure that Iridicron is...
I don't know if he's going to be a disposable villain, but I would say that you guys remember he was making the comment that why don't we just destroy these, these heroes who killed Razagath, and he was kind of being very impatient about it. And then you hear Iridicron tell him, don't underestimate him. He seems like the erratic one of the three that are left, the one who would kind of make an irrash decision to just attack us without thinking about it. So I think he's going to be the next one to die too. We'll see. But he's not the final raid boss in the next raid, which was very interesting.
Villain. And I'm almost sure that Iridicron is going to be the guy that is going to do the big things, so like the actual brain behind the operation.
Iridicron looks like
Apparently,
the brain.
Fire Deck discovered the lava pool and he really empowered himself, which will cause big problems across the entirety of the Dragon Isles. However, most importantly, just how Iridicron did it in the past, he will rally over the Jaradine and almost certainly ally himself with these Jaradine Elders. Now, 10.1 is going to come out in like a day on the PTR, so we are set to discover a ton of new information, and I think a lot of this will be incredibly relevant for the lore. However, I think they're saving the real spoilers and the cinematics and what will more than likely unravel old god stuff for the actual patch release, which is definitely good. However, I do think we're going to discover more documents and a bunch more potential hints into what Deathwing has really been working on. Thank you for watching. Check out the potential for the active tanks and new classes by clicking on the screen, and check out Doron's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.
No, I'll see you next time. Thank you, Doron. Like I said, major opportunity missed with the Ridge Wallet thing, but hey, it's okay. You can't win them all. Great video. What's to come? Well, we'll find out. PTR is now available, so we've been getting a lot of news about what's going on and everything, but you know what else we got to do? You know what news there is? The news that we're going to create today and the fact that we finished our achievement run. So let's get into it. I'm going to post that group up. Let's get in. Let's start that achievement. Or sorry, should I say finish that achievement run. We are on Dathia.